Across the pond.
And today we are here with Doug Fifer, who has wrote a amazing book. You can, for everyone who's watching, you can see the title and the cover in his background. And I am, of course, here with my lovely co-host Amanda, with whom I had so much fun on the Vampire podcast.
Yes, we did.
But Doug, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Of course. Yeah, I have read your book in a single sitting, and that is with I believe training in between two when it went right. Actually, when I didn't get dropped on the back of my head. And yeah, like just the one question kept coming up, like with every chapter I read and every story I read, and that was basically just why. I mean, the creativity of the human mind really knows no bounds. So how do you deal with all of that? How do you, because has it become an everyday thing, or?
Yeah, I think I hate to say you get numb to it, but as a investigator, as a cop working, you see it all the time. And so not much surprises you. But what I wanted to do is there's lots of true crime books out there that people read, serial killers, all kinds of things. I wanted to come out as an author with a different style of true crime. And that's where you get into the really deviant sexual cases. Mm-hmm. So I took all the wild and weirdest cases in my 25-year career and put it in that book, which you read. So most of those I investigated personally, or they were part of my department, or there was a co-agency where I worked with it. So it's definitely extreme on those cases. But for true crime readers, it's all 100% documented real life cases. But again, it's going to be a different flavor. So as an author, I wanted to break out a little bit more and give some real stories that people haven't read. If you Google deviant sex cases by true crime authors, there's nothing like it. This is the only book out there. So I was surprised. I wondered how well it would do. It's done extremely well. But what I told Amanda earlier is really women 30 to 60 overwhelmingly buy the book. I mean, it's crazy. Guys like to read it and they'll talk about some stories, but women really dig into the deep details of these stories, which is fascinating to me. But that's why I wrote it. The answers to why I put that in the book, that most of us think sex is about biology, right? And it is. It's a physical feeling. But really, for criminals, it's about power. So each and every one of these cases is about dominance and power by the individual, the criminal. Whatever they do, whatever instance they do, whatever sexually deviant act they commit, in their mind, it's that power. It's also biological, but most of us, like the three of us, probably think of sex as very biological, a little bit mental. They're 100% on the mental train, as you've read. So that's why I wrote it, and that's really the best answer I give. It's literally that extreme power, the dominance they want over their victims.
Yeah, I have to say that when it comes to true crime, like true crime books and podcasts, yours is definitely one of a kind. And it really doesn't surprise me that it's really popular with women. Like they seem to love their true crime, and when some freaky deaky stuff happens as well.
It really was quite an interesting read, to be fair. And like I've said, like obviously I've stopped. I've got 50 pages left of the book to read, but it's been quite busy here. So I know as I'm getting the shake of, from Stein, but yeah, 50 Shades of True Crime was really even quite an interactive book, Doug. So I do like the way you've really opened it up to get the readers involved with it whilst they were being introduced to different cases, especially in the first chapter or so. There are I'm sure Stein, as he said, he's got quite a few questions. I too have quite a few questions about certain stories in that book and what you've come across over your years in the police force. Yeah.
And Amanda, you're right. the
Mm.
first chapter is called Name That Crime. And that's where the reader gets to be interactive, and they see a booking photo or a mugshot, and then there's some criminal statutes, and the reader try and guess what, that evidence shows. And then you read the story and find out how close you were or you weren't. So I wanted to open up that way so you kind of get into the book. Overall, I wanted you to kind of be like you're a cop in the moment, and you're right along with me as we investigate these crimes, because they're so unique and so far out of everyday human, interactions in life. So that's why I created it that way, kind of make it fun and interactive, because there's some heavy stuff in there, as you both know. You've read it, so you got to lighten it in some way. Otherwise, the book's just too much for people to read.
Yeah, no, you've done that really well. The whole like ride along aspect. It makes it a much easier read, because as you said, it is quite deviant and really over the chapters. It gets from bad to worse. So to bring it in kind of a indeed in the first chapter, kind of a game format, and then like a ride along. I especially like that with the Amanda's favorite chapter, the pizza chapter.
Oh God, I'm telling you, no, me and Stein were discussing this because I was having, discussions in between different segments I was reading through, and I'm never ordering again. I'm never ordering from anyone ever again to bring food to my house. Either I'm cooking it or I'm watching it being cooked, because I do not trust anyone at this point now after reading that. Like, it really, really did stick in my head. So I think it's also going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, that's the pizza guy. That's on the reading ride along. For your listeners, you may never order takeout pizza again in your life after you read this. I certainly haven't since day one on that case. I've never ordered from that pizza company. And again, this is one of the top 3 pizza companies in the U.S. You may even have them likely in the U.K. I'm not sure, but that's quite a story. People rarely shock a seasoned investigator. That shocked me. I mean, I hadn't even ever thought that up. I didn't think that was possible. So even for me, it was kind of like on the job learning. Absolutely insane.
There is one thing I want to know about that. Oh, apologies, Stan.
No, sorry,
There's
Amanda,
just one
go ahead.
thing I want to know. Whenever you went to that lady's house, was she on her own? Was she single? Or did she have kids and stuff? Because that's what was playing in my head. Like, this guy's doing it, and she might not be the only person consuming it.
Yep. So in this, very good question. And I thought the same thing when I went over there. At this point, no, she was married with family, but by herself at this particular time. Thank God, I think. And this was more of a personal size pizza, not the giant ones, but a smaller one. She had consumed the whole pizza already. And as a cop, I wanted to get the pizza back for evidence, but there was no evidence because she ate it all. So that was a real tricky case for our district attorney prosecutor, because there's no evidence. We have an admission of what he did to the pizza. And for your listeners, he had, long story short, he had a crush on a particular female where he delivered pizza. So he put some of his own genetics on the pizza and then delivered her. And then it was an odd story how the cops came in and cracked this case and solved it. But again, it blew my mind as a cop, and certainly readers, it's going to blow your mind as people who order pizza probably once a month.
So how did she react to it? I can imagine, being a just anyone, and you're being told by the police that, hey, this guy, spunked on your pizza. Like, not just, I mean, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I sincerely hope, like, for like evidence sake, that he smeared it over the pizza, so it's not just
you did actually
bit of spunk like laying on the pizza.
Yeah, no, so great point. This wasn't the first pizza that she'd eaten that he had done this to, but he did smear it throughout the pizza so you couldn't tell. He at least was smart enough to do that. The conversation with her, cops usually don't have awkward conversations because we talk about homicide, robberies, serial killers. This for me was an extremely awkward conversation. I have to be at somebody's door that I don't know, knock on the door, and then tell an individual what just happened. So the best I can describe is when I first said it, her face completely went white, like ghost white, because it wasn't processing what had happened. And I agree with her. I mean, I could barely process it, and I'm a cop. So it was a freeze moment. Like, is this can't be real? Am I dreaming? I could see it in her eyes.
Mhm.
And then slowly but surely, she started to calculate it and understand what happened. Interesting thing about this case is in Alaska at the time, you putting your fluids on a pizza and delivering it to a female was not a criminal offense. That
That's
sounds
disgusting.
absolutely
That's so
fascinating, but it
disgusting.
wasn't, because nobody could think of that crime being committed yet. But
It
But
kind
now
of,
it
that
is.
kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to create a law, and that's the beauty of law enforcement, is these criminals are so out of whack that you have to create laws to protect citizens. The cool thing about cool for her, well, not eating the pizza, but in the end, is this major pizza company came in with a massive settlement because they didn't want this in the news. This would have made CNN, Fox News across the nation. It would have made it across
Easily.
the pond to you guys
Easily.
in some. So I was waiting for that moment. It never happened because they came in with a massive settlement, which she got, and you never heard about it publicly. So I didn't understand the power of business at that point either.
Mhm.
I do now. So money surpassed criminality in that aspect. They came in, paid her off. There was no complaint, and the case in essence died from there. We still enacted the law though, because once somebody does something, obviously more will do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I remember like hearing the urban myths when I was like in my my teenage years, but I never imagined someone actually doing that. I can imagine, like kind of developing a crush on someone, especially if you deliver there often. I've had delivery jobs, and yes, there are some beautiful women out there who order things, and it's like, yes, I would most definitely like to deliver there, but like to actually go that far, as I said, I guess the human brain, the human creativity, knows no end, knows no
He
no
was seeking a
boundaries.
deeper connection.
I think so. Amanda, I would say on Stein, if he starts delivering pizzas, you guys got to take a closer look at him. I'm in the U.S., but I just want to let you know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the Netherlands, so
there you go.
I won't be delivering to the UK. Maybe I will create a
Who knows?
special
I know. I
sauce.
knew he
but-
was gonna. That's disgusting.
No, but it's oh man.
Yeah, no more
So-
pizza orders for me, guys.
Smart.
No. I think I'm gonna skip those as well. And then you definitely have more questions.
Yeah, no,
I'm-
I did like. I will say for everyone that hasn't read. So the first chapter, really, I think one of the most interesting ones that I found, and I found that there's some quite, it's not all so heavy and dark. There are some quite comical moments, and I will just highlight cucumber, and that's all I'm going to say. Like,
Yeah.
it's not all doom and gloom, but it is definitely a very creative way of exploring yourself sexually, I suppose, in public while driving drunk. So yeah. Don't want to give too much away. We need everyone having a good read of this.
Yeah, that was the largest cucumber I've ever seen. But
Oh, God.
in the book, the readers can actually see a real picture of that cucumber.
Yes, I know. I sent it to Andy. A picture of
Oh,
it.
he would have loved
Yeah.
that.
He did not say anything. But I just said, just so you know, here you are.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
it's
but
good.
that was
Yeah.
that is quite the spectacle, driving drunk and then with a cucumber placed in a certain area.
Special dark place.
Yeah, it's like whatever takes your fancy, I guess. But I'm just wondering, how do those people like come up with these things? Like, how do you?
Well, at least he wrapped it in a
Another.
plastic bag.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to use it later. That's even worse, right? You're going to put it
Yeah,
on a
I
salad
know,
after
right?
that.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
Yeah,
that
Oh my god.
give,
But surely it would become like, you know,
I would think. Yeah,
limp.
I would think.
Yeah, with the warmth,
that gives
you
a
know.
whole new meaning to tossing a salad, I guess.
It definitely does. Yeah, that
Wow.
Hmm.
cop work's a lot of fun. Those are the times where it's not so much fun when you get
Yeah.
those, and you still have to deal with the criminality of it, even though there's all this other stuff in the mix. You're like, wow, this can't be possible, but it is.
Yeah, I guess one of the like more shocking things for me was that so many of those, well, clearly crimes weren't punishable at that time because like no
Hmm.
law had been created for that, as of yet. As a police officer, when you see, someone do that or, who has clearly done very deviant things, and like you hear about that, yeah, like he's, we're gonna have to let him walk because technically he's not done something illegal. How do you process that? Because that to me seems rather difficult. It's like, but there is evidence, like clearly visually. How is this not a crime?
But they still got
Yeah.
him on the drink driving, didn't they?
Yeah, that one did, but
Hmm.
I think Stein's talking about a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
We still have a state in our union that bestiality isn't outlawed. That makes no sense to me whatsoever in a normal world. So I think what cops do, that investigators, they work very closely with prosecutors and district attorneys to then say, okay, we realize there's no statute that you can convict on now, but we've got to fix this moving forward because trust me, in the world, if it's happened once, it's going to happen a million times. That's just facts.
Mhm.
So rather than get upset, I think most cops work towards getting a solution. As much as it sucks because you want to arrest that individual and not turn him loose, you got to turn him loose once in a while and then get those laws in place. What I would say is that most individuals like that reoffend, right? They're going to commit other
Yeah.
crimes. So eventually you're going to get them, but it does suck when you can't arrest them right there and put a stop to it. No doubt about it.
I think that just like the fact that bestiality wasn't outlawed, it just, I mean, it seems just common sense to me to, outlaw that. It's, man and beast, they don't go together. Like, I'm sorry, this is not a Disney movie, this is not Beauty and the Beast. But yeah, it's just, you got to do the crime first, then the whole law comes. It seems so incredibly backwards to me.
Well, yeah, really, and to have any kind of mindset that you would want to, even if, let's say you did have them sexual urges to do that, but to actually act upon it when you're hurting an innocent animal, which is in fact what was happening throughout a lot of the cases that we were that was coming up in your book. Like, I just find it appalling. It was completely horrendous and quite frankly so harrowing that I did have to stop halfway through. And Steiner, we had to, like, the discussion, I had to wait a day and go back to that section because I just can't believe how cruel people can be. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. But again, the three of us sitting here are from a mindset that we understand that's completely wrong. But these individuals, they're not anything like us. They think that is okay. And all the discussion in the world, you're not going to change their mind. I found that in my investigations that sexual predators of any type is one category where I don't believe in rehabilitation. Murderers, burglars, robbers, give them all a chance. Sexual deviants to this extent, I found in my career, and I mean 0%, have ever non-offended when they had an opportunity. So that's the difference here. Is we think normally, like, how could this happen? In their minds, it's different. I've always been, I'm with you. I'm fascinated. We're never going to stop it. And I think things like bestiality, to your listeners, there are massive amounts of people out there that have websites, forums, travel forums that they meet up clandestine. It's much larger than the public thinks it is. Unfortunately, in law enforcement, I get to see it more than the average person, which is lucky. I don't want you guys to see it or the public to see it because, like you said, it's difficult to handle. But these crimes, and it's not the U.S., this is the U.K., South America, everywhere around the world this occurs. But again, it's much larger, sadly, than what we might think. You hear about it from time to time, but you probably hear about 3% of the cases that actually occur.
Only 3%, really? Wow.
I know.
Yeah, it's so prolific that there's no way to monitor it. You could hire all the law enforcement in the world just to work sexual crimes like this. There's just not enough to investigate. And like I said, it's spread all over the world. So very difficult. And you have to, one, especially in bestiality, you're not going to have a victim that calls and reports it because they're an animal. And two, typically they hide that behavior extreme. They're caught only by chance or, something like that. And then it gets reported. So extremely low report rate, which makes it difficult for law enforcement to solve.
Yeah. I mean, I guess thank God for that that little old lady down in Florida who was really policing the park and the ponds herself, because otherwise I do believe that the perpetrator might just have gotten away with it.
Well, he was grooming them. He was grooming the ducks. This was
literally
grooming the wildlife to then action his master plan. It was just absolute madness.
Yeah, and again, that's an individual that you got to put away and incarcerate, because they're going to prey upon something else immediately when they get out. But the little old lady, in my experience as an investigator, are the absolute best witnesses, eyes on anything in the world, because they document everything. They believe in law and order. They're, in their neighborhoods. So I always love them as witnesses, no matter what the crime, because they're always rock solid. And she probably, obviously she saved a few ducks, post that, and other animals. This guy ended up being a perpetrator, not just on ducks as well. But it's wild what people are doing out in society. And I always like witnesses that take the time to call into the police so we can investigate and solve some of these. You can't catch them all, but the more we catch, the better for everyone.
So how much does the public actually help with this? Like, the little old lady down in Florida, they're not everywhere. And, also a lot of people, they see something, but they don't want to say something because they fear that, they might also end up with repercussions of some kind. So how does the general public help in this? How much do they help in this?
Yeah, the sexual deviant cases, it's tough because it's so rare that you're going to find out about them, especially in bestiality, necrophilia, things like that. You don't have active victims that are going to go away and tell somebody. So that one's tough. I think generally the public is very good wherever we're at, whether it's UK, US. Remember, the listeners, you can always call anonymously to the police department. And I always tell people to follow their gut feeling. If they think something's odd next door, if they think they see something, but maybe they didn't see what they thought they saw, just call the police, give them the information. We'll take it from there. They don't have to worry about it. But unless we have that, we may never discover other things. And I'll tell you what, I've solved murders on just a thing where they thought it was menial and nothing to do with anything, but they decided to call, end up solving a homicide. So that's the extent you go. So if you got information, call the police department, tell them about it. You can stay anonymous. We're not going to publish you in the newspaper or on the news. And then we have a chance of solving it. But if you don't, then it's really hard for us.
Yeah. No, like it is indeed so often that, you think like, oh yeah, that's nothing. The neighbor is just, I don't know. Yeah, he's a little odd. He's a little kooky, but he wouldn't hurt a fly. Then he ends up
grooming ducks.
For example. Yeah.
I know it sounds awful, but I'm just really surprised as well, because I thought it was only bestiality. How many different names and kind of affiliated groups they kind of split into. So you had like, what was it, the zoophilia, or just
Yeah.
There's hundreds, and so for your listeners, there's fetishes. I'll start with that, and that is just little kinks that you might have in your own sex life. Like if you like doggy style over missionary, that's your preference, like a fetish, no big deal. You get into paraphilias, that's where somebody else or yourself is being harmed in that sexual act. So there's hundreds of paraphilias. Bestiality is one of them. Necrophilia,
Yes.
for your listeners that don't know, that's sex with the dead. So all over the spectrum, and it just goes on and on whatever that paraphilia is. Fetishes, probably for the most part, perfectly fine. Whatever you're into with your partner, that's good. Paraphilia, where you're harming somebody, is where law enforcement obviously gets involved. But it's across the board. There's hundreds of them, and we could go all day talking about them. But you're right, it's pervasive, and again, a lot of them are way out there. And for whatever reason, however the human brain thinks, certain individuals attach to certain paraphilias, as odd as they might be, and that's their thing, and it drives them.
I think Stein really enjoyed the ink section.
Oh God, yeah. The kink and ink chapter, especially the last one with the
I feel
the
like it's
tattoo
his thing.
with the tattoo artists. Oh God, like as a man, like I know how, let's say, sensitive that area is. Like no way there's coming, any kinds of needle or sharp object near that. Maybe, like maybe a razor to, the wife likes it. So, but like, oh, like I was like, I was cringing when I read that. I know you, like, you got woozy, didn't you? When you saw that, at least.
Stein, I'm having flashbacks right now and getting cringy because I saw it. Yeah, and for your listeners, just if they never thought a penis could be broken, it actually can. And Stein's
Yes, I
talking
couldn't
about
believe it.
he's talking about a tattoo story, and I'm with you, Stein. Is I could be in a shootout, I can see blood and guts. You break a penis, and I see that because I have one of those. Then I'm going weak. That's one of the only times in 25 years in law enforcement that I actually became physically overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That I got weak and I had to really focus myself. Because to your point, men, we have a penis. And so trauma to that area is brutal. I mean, I know you do jujitsu. You get a little tap in that area and I'm down for 20 minutes, let alone what we're talking about. But that chapter is interesting. Kink and Ink's one of my favorites because you wouldn't think that law enforcement would interact in a tattoo style criminal stories like are in the book. So it always fascinated me how my investigations were related to tattoos and crimes. So it's a pretty cool chapter. One of my favorites that I wrote for listeners, but it's some wild stuff, no doubt.
I think it's definitely one of my favorite ones that I have read in your book. One of the more creative ones as well, especially with the prison tattoo, let's say. That was a clever workaround, I suppose. Have you ever encountered that again, or was that a single case? I'm just wondering how prevalent that is.
Yeah, it's the only one I've ever seen in my career. And what that one was, it was an individual that I arrested for dope dealing, but he had served some serious time in a federal penitentiary with the Mexican mafia. Most people have heard of that. Very powerful in the U.S. in the prison systems. That's another story. You can ask me how does the Mexican mafia run our prison systems? I don't have a great answer for you. It seems easy that we could control that. It's not. So they provided him with the drugs in the prison and said he could pay later. Obviously, when you can't pay in prison, Mexican mafia gives you two choices. You can either work for them or they'll kill you. So most people, that's an easy choice. What he didn't understand is his working for them was to have a beautiful female tattooed on his back, his entire back, mind you, and you're welcome to see it in the book, all the way down to what they call a prison pocket, which is, anal sex.
Yeah.
And then they would, in essence, pimp him out in this prison for $20 to other inmates. And then they would supply him with his heroin. I've always wondered what rock bottom was, but somehow in my mind, I was like, this must be rock bottom, because how could you get to that extent for your drug habit to just go ahead and do that? But it was the most incredible tattoo to see. It was absolutely phenomenal because it was so good. Like, I don't know who did it in the prison, who the Mexican Mafia had to do this tattoo, but it was lifelike. It was almost 3D. It looked just like a female. And for your listeners, there's 3 types of inmates. There's ones that stay heterosexual, men, when they go into prison. There's those that are homosexual, that engage in homosexual sex. And then there's prison wolves. And prison wolves are the one paying the $20. And all that means is that you're pretending to be heterosexual in prison. You're not. Outside of the prison, you are heterosexual. But for that time, that sin of 2 to 3 years in prison where you want to have sex, you have sex with an inmate such as him with a tattoo, and then you're not practicing homosexual sex. Now, trying to wrap your head around that, I'm with you. It doesn't make any sense, but that's literally the code in prison. So this guy was an earner, but once you're tattooed and released from your prison sentence, you still got that tattoo. So I didn't believe it when he told me what the tattoo was. I actually had our jailers, their correction officers in Alaska, strip him down so I could see it. It's absolutely shocking.
I mean, I work in a penitentiary myself here in the Netherlands. I have, definitely seen some tattoos. Some guys are, really tatted up. Never would I imagine them having a tattoo like that, let alone it being done in prison. Like I have several tattoos myself. I know like how much it hurts. I know how long it takes to get tattooed. So an entire back piece, like absolute realism, in prison with what I can only assume is material, made in prison or smuggled in prison. I'm just how, and yeah, that is, I have to agree with you. I think that is absolutely rock bottom. There's no coming back from that, unfortunately.
So
go ahead.
I'm with you,
Doug. The picture that was actually in the book, that's the actual tattoo.
Yeah, that's a great question. So that is a rendering, like a sketch artist. Back when I hate to say it, but I wish I had an iPhone back in the day to snap the picture. We didn't have iPhones back then where we document everything. So that is a rendering of the exact tattoo. That individual was then rearrested for heroin. Again, Stein, he went right back to it. I mean, and then he disappeared from there after he got out. I don't know if he went back to California, whatever happened to him. I always wondered though, right? I mean, probably not, to be honest with you, probably not alive anymore would be my guess, because that's so difficult. But as far as the equipment in San Quentin, which is a federal penitentiary in California, the Mexican Mafia smuggles in everything: tattoo equipment, cell phones, drugs. I put in the book, anything you get on the outside in the U.S., you can get on the inside, and I mean anything. But it does fascinate me, and Stein, you work in that environment, how we cannot control it and stop it. Again, that's not my profession. I never worked as a jailer or a corrections officer, but anything's in there, so anything's possible. What was interesting to me about the Mexican Mafia is they have a code they live by. And one of their codes, call it your 10 commandments, is you can't be homosexual. So I found that fascinating that you could tattoo a guy and then pimp him out to be homosexual, but that's against your code. So all that told me is you really don't have any code. It's just driven purely by the finances and dope.
No, but that was I loved the explanation that that druggie gave. It's like, but then when they are having sex, they're looking at that tattoo and they're looking at a beautiful woman, so therefore it's not gay.
Well, it's still going in the anus, so it's gay.
Yeah, no,
Amanda's
I'm sorry, let's just get to the point here.
Yeah.
You
Summed
know,
it up for us.
there's no
Like,
grey area. It is what it is. No amount of
it's a brown,
tattoos are going to change that.
it's a brown area actually.
Yeah, well, literally, yeah.
I like your guys' humor. You could be in the book.
Yeah, no, but it's. I mean, I guess it's a it's a workaround. I suppose. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how they figured that. You know, that was
Well, as
not
long as
not.
it keeps their conscience clear, you know.
Yeah, sure. I guess, you know, it's, hey, we didn't break any law because, you know, there's a beautiful
Didn't
woman
break our code
on
of
his.
conduct here.
Yeah, that wild stuff.
Oh
There's
God,
no
but
doubt.
poor him. It was quite a sad story that the guy did have. So I know we're
Yeah.
making, you know, a little bit of a laugh about it, but it was quite sad. Actually reading that and his backstory and just everything that he was doing, and all down to the heroin use. It just really
I agree.
was not a nice,
I felt generally
situation.
bad for him. There's no doubt. And again, I always wondered what happened to him. Although I can probably guess it wasn't a great life for him.
No.
Even if I highly doubt he's still around. But yeah, it's a tough one. But I do use cops call it dark humor in the book, so I will sprinkle some humor on there, and that's not to degrade or diminish any of the cases or victims or suspects. The reason is because cops can't survive unless they use some of this humor, because you guys read the book. This is something they deal with all the time. So we use that real strong humor almost for self-care, because if you don't see the better side of it in your own mind and have a little fun with it, you're not going to survive. It can be too traumatic even for seasoned veterans. So your readers will see that sprinkled throughout, and that's on purpose, because you got to have lighter moments in such deviant criminal cases.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you would go absolutely insane otherwise. You know, if you indeed have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis, which, you know, as a police officer, you do, of course, like, you see the worst that society has to offer. Some, you know, dark humor. Yeah, like
It's definitely
I know.
much welcomed.
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest,
yeah.
If it didn't have that, I don't know if I could have got through it. Yeah,
it's really the only way that you can, like, kind of keep your sanity, to kind of, you know, make light of it, make a joke out of it. That's why I was thinking that, yeah, that druggie, like, his customers definitely got a happy ending, but I doubt that he got a happy ending.
Yeah, I think his customers did. They paid $20, and that was and then he got his dope. I mean, it's wild that they have their own commerce system in prison, so there's a whole world there that most of us never experience.
No, and especially American prisons, the American prison system. It is.
And he was in San Quentin, wasn't he?
San Quentin was where he was at. Yeah, that's a
which
that's
is
a
the
rough one.
worst
That's a real
prison
hard.
in America, is it not? Yeah,
It's one of the. It used to be the worst. There's several now that are, you know, pretty bad, but it's still a rough prison. I wouldn't last 5 seconds in San Quentin. You have to be affiliated with somebody. You have to have money. You have to have some aspect. Obviously, as a retired cop, that's not going to do well for me either. So I'm going to stay on the right side of the law. I'm not going to deal heroin. I'm not getting any tattoos on my back. I'll keep pretty clean. Yeah,
no, that's I think that'll be the best. And the one thing I'm also wondering, how many other cases have you encountered where people have made certain devices, you know, for their own pleasure, like that? Was that the guy he looked from the outside, he looked, you know, just straight, wife, kids, and he, you know, had his hobby in his garage. Turned out his hobby was, well, quite the hobby. How many more of those have you seen? And, like, how do you, man, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, that was tons. So I could write 5 books on these cases. So that was I call that chapter the Carpenter's Last Measurement, because what he was an incredible house builder, carpenter, just extraordinary. He would be the guy you'd hire on Angie's List to build something. beautiful family, kids, but he had a fetish. It was megalophilia, and that fetish, and back to the philias, is where you insert objects anally, progressively larger and larger. That's your fetish. It is extreme as it can go. So you slowly introduce that into you. So he had built a box, and then he built a metal sphere, and then this pulley system he built that he would lower himself up and down on the sphere, quite large, and go deeper and deeper. And this was his fetish. The wife knew nothing about it. This was a giant garage adjacent to his house. He actually enclosed a box in that garage. So he would climb over it in a ladder, disrobe, attach himself to a pulley system. He built this all himself, mind you. Brilliant carpenter. I couldn't build this contraption if my life depended on it, even
No.
if it was on YouTube and I could watch it. That's how good he was. And what happened, he did this for a long time, but eventually his pulley system broke and he impaled himself on this sphere and just bled out. So when the wife went looking for him, because he never missed a day of work, he never did anything, she even went
Yeah.
into this giant garage and didn't see him. What happened, she called his cell phone and it rang in this box, and she went up the ladder and discovered this. And then obviously the police were called. Again, that's when you see it, it's shocking. Your mind freezes for a second as an investigator, because you have to comprehend what you're seeing.
Yeah.
But then within 3 to 5 seconds, it immediately clicks, and you're like, "Mother of God, I know what happened." But it's okay for me to see, but I feel bad for the wife to see, because that image, again, is never leaving her brain. It's been cemented. I don't know how you get over that as a family member. But by
years and years of therapy.
that's what it is, yeah. But if you met him on a call, you wanted to hire him, you would think he was everyday USA guy with his business. You would never guess, and that's the beauty of the book. Is some of these individuals are oil executives, businessmen. You just never know. You never know what's going on next door with your neighbor. You never know what your boss is doing. You never know what your best friend does behind closed doors. I can promise you that we all think we do, but you really don't.
Oh no, absolutely. No, and I think that is that's also been a a big part of your book. Like, they are just everyday people. People you walk past on the street. People like you, I don't know, like say hello to in your local supermarket. But behind closed doors, they are, well, freaks, and I mean that, not necessarily in a bad way, but just in all ways. And also, like, it's so weird. Like, I'm just trying to, like, place myself in his wife's situation. Like, yeah, your husband has a hobby, and he spends a lot of time on that hobby. I mean, good for him. He doesn't bother anyone. He does his job. He's a good husband. He's a good father. Little does she know that, yeah, he's well, impaling himself. And one time it was, well, he actually impaled himself. It's just, you hear so many of those stories. Like, you hear that all the time with serial killers as well. Like, oh, he seemed like such a, like a clean cut kind of guy. Little do you know that he's making, human leather couches in his garden shed.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. That would have been, again, she found her husband. But I always thought to myself, boy, if we found him somehow, and then I had to go explain to the wife, because how would I even start? And then here's the problem we run in law enforcement is spouses will then demand, I want to see him. Like, I've got to see it for myself.
Gosh.
That's even more traumatic, because they don't believe what's happening. We get that a lot. This case, she had found him, so that was unnecessary. But to myself, I was like, thank God, because I would not want to explain this to a spouse, because she's going to deny it. She's not going to she's going to want to see him. And that's even more traumatic. So that, some of those cases, we run into that a lot, but that's, for the investigator, it's tough, because you're like, gosh, because we have families, right? We have wives, we have kids. I just couldn't imagine it.
No, especially as, in cases where law enforcement found that person. How do you explain that? That
Well,
must
you'd probably say impaled, wouldn't you? It's just like, I don't, I think if anything could be said here for any of our female listeners, please do check on your man in his man cave. Don't just leave him unattended for long periods of time without checking, the area. Yeah, do your own detective work. Make sure he's not in there impaling himself. Yeah, what
on
is
some
this?
kind of homemade pleasure device.
Homemade contraption,
And you might have a different discussion with him when you find his device too. That when you're checking on him in his man cave,
maybe we can work together. You don't know.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just so. Or the also one of the more fascinating ones, like Amanda, you mentioned the cucumber. That wasn't the only one where some kind of food product was involved. Amanda, did you get to that chapter with the happy not so happy threesome trio? What was it?
No. So I'm on page, I think it was 174. I'm on right now.
Oh, so this is new to you. Oh, that's a lot of fun.
I love it. It's almost like surprise time.
You'll like that story. It's and for your readers, it involves Cheese Whiz, which again I wouldn't think. And there's as odd as this sounds, there's a couple cases in there about Cheese Whiz, different cases, mind you. How Cheese Whiz and law enforcement would connect. As a rookie cop, I would have bet $1 million that I would never have one Cheese Whiz story, let alone two. But your readers can check it out in the book. Absolutely fascinating stuff. People go to any lengths. Once you read the book, you'll understand that. But yeah, I would have never guessed, and it's still fascinating to me today, the Cheese Whiz.
Stein, give me a teaser.
Well, it is cheese in a can, which you can spray, of course, and you can also.
Oh no! I'm already.
I don't know, put it in certain body parts, spray, and then I don't know, have your way.
Okay.
And for some people, that feels really, really good.
And how the cops got involved, how I got called there was the guy. He was kind of Rico Suave. He had two women, his wife and a girlfriend. They decided smart to move the girlfriend into the house. Let me tell your listeners, never a smart thing, but to each their own. And then the Cheese Whiz that they enjoyed was something that his wife and him enjoyed only. It was very passionate, emotional for her. Well, he couldn't help himself. He shared the Cheese Whiz with the third partner, which he wasn't supposed to. I know none of this makes sense to normal people, but these were the rules. And then she totally flipped out because he had shared the Cheese Whiz, even though they were all having sex together, mind you. The Cheese Whiz was special and only shared with her. I wanted to start laughing as a cop because this can't be real. Who lives like this? But they did, and ultimately it didn't work out well for him.
They even drafted up a contract, which let's say the lady of the house, she wanted you to enforce that contract.
Yeah, people sometimes don't understand. If you have a legal court order or there's something like that, we enforce it as law enforcement. But just because, Amanda, if you and Stein wrote up a contract, a love contract, that's not, even though it's a contract, the cop had nothing to do with it. So she really handed me this contract like it was enforceable. And I have to take the girlfriend to jail. And I wanted to start laughing, but I couldn't because she's so traumatized at this point. But I had to tell her over and over, lady, there's nothing I could do with this. Now, what's funny is I should have just shoved it back to her and said, I don't want it. But to be honest with you, I wanted to read every line of that because it was so incredible and so outrageous and frankly, so stupid that it was never going to work. I had to read the whole thing because people can't actually think this would work out. And it didn't work out. It worked out for a little while, as we all know, and then it went to hell.
Yeah. And of course it was, the husband's idea to involve a third party. And of course it had to be a female. It's like, I mean, I'm impressed that he actually got his way. I
don't think there's no problem here with two females. So, But yeah, of
Hey,
course the man is going to bring in another female. But I can guarantee you now, if she had been like, let's bring another male in, it would have been another story.
no, he would have protested,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yes, of course.
that would have probably ended up in divorce.
Well, they did ultimately, even with the other female. So it didn't work out regardless. But the contract, the readers, you can read some of the contractual items in the book. It's just, I mean, fascinating that they actually sat
Yeah.
down. This was a real conversation. And ultimately, they really thought this was going to work. When you're reading the story, your readers will understand this. Never had a chance in hell.
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely not. I mean, I understand, after, a certain amount of years of marriage, like wanting to spice it up a little, I get that, keep things interesting. But to bring in a third party is never really a good idea, not if you're married, at least. And then to go as far as to draft up a contract. I don't know. It's just human creativity, I guess, in the human mind.
For sure.
Man, just it's.
No, I was just thinking, Stein. So you're saying, so you would just be sharing the cheese whiz between you and your missus.
Well,
no third parties, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the third thing that come to my head.
Well, the cheese whiz is so odd, and I'll tell your listeners, forget the two stories in the book, forget about that. You can read them. It's fascinating. You can go to Pornhub, type in cheese whiz, and then you're going to have the whole entire category of cheese whiz. I didn't know that even until I wrote the book during my research. So this isn't even a one-off between a couple cases. It's actually a thing in the world.
I'm literally checking this as soon as we're off.
Make sure to erase your browser history, though.
I will. No, I'm fine. Don't worry.
People like their cheese. I mean, what are you going to do?
I mean, I'm Dutch. I like cheese, but I don't like cheese that much.
Well, I don't even like cheese whiz on crackers. I think it's disgusting. So I didn't like it in the first place.
I mean, we don't have it here in the Netherlands, and thank God
it's basically just string cheese, is it?
It's soft. It sprays out of a can like on a cracker. It's soft. So obviously, if you insert it into the anus, it's going to go in quite nicely. And that was the guy's. He liked that texture of the cheese whiz on his penis. So he would masturbate with it. He would have. So he just liked it. Go to Pornhub. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's a category. Yeah, people out there for it.
Oh God, yeah, that's another thing. Like the
smell,
the smell, yeah.
Yeah, no, serious. Like you could. I don't know. I can think of
the combination of all those smells together.
Whiz, yeah.
Imagine walking in a room and smelling a combination of anal sex and cheese whiz.
Oh God, stop.
I imagine it now, Stein. I got it. I got it now.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Oh man. But I guess as a bit of a final question, perhaps we're coming up on the hour. We'll see how long we can stretch this. Speaking of food items, the menthols thing, the cough drops. Does that actually work? Is that actually that good?
It's absolutely incredible. And I'll tell you the chapter. So the book, we cover a lot of things here, but at the end of the book, I wanted to put a chapter that was kind of a relief, enjoyable chapter. Amanda, you'll get to it. This one's fine for you.
I know what you're talking about already without me having to get to it, and it does work.
It's a letdown, but I call it teachable tidbits for the readers. And what you can do is, these are cases that I went on that weren't necessarily criminal, but in my mind, I was like, wow, they actually do this sexually. So your readers can either incorporate in their sex life if they want, or they don't have to. It's kind of in that fetish realm. No big deal, fun stories, but all police stories. This one was, I went to a call and it was between two gay lovers. They were having a little domestic spat. When the cops show up, we just separate them. If there's no fighting, no criminal, one goes and stays at a friend's house, hotel, whatever. both drinking, let them calm down, live to fight another day. That's the cops' mentality. And this was just that case. So the gentleman's name was Andrew, very polite. I told him he had to leave, and we let him get a bag together with clothes, toothbrush, hairbrush, just stay overnight somewhere else. He was real cool with it. But as cops, we follow them around the house while they gather it, so they can't grab a weapon, anything like that. Just a safety feature.
Sure.
Nobody's in trouble here. So he had a big green duffel bag, and in his bedroom drawer, the entire drawer was filled up with cough drops, Hall's cough drops, that you would take when you have a cough to suck on the menthol, and it relieves your nasal passages in your cough. But the whole drawer was filled up, so he kept putting in his bag, all of them. So as a naive cop at the time, I said, do you have a bad cough or something? Because I don't know what the hell is going on. And so he looked at me and said, you don't know what those are for? And I said, no. So he said, you put one in your mouth and you give your partner a blowjob, and it heats up the shaft of the penis, and it's one of the best orgasms you'll ever have. So immediately post this call, I was lights and sirens to the drugstore after I called my wife and told her about it, because she said we ought to try it. Well, I'm in. I'm definitely in. So I got it, and then I was shocked that Andrew was right. But then the best part of this was I had another officer on the call, and he asked me if it worked, and then he came back several days later and said he tried it, and it was absolutely incredible with his wife. And then it kind of went viral before viral was a thing throughout the police department, and everybody's calling me, asking me how do cough drops work with oral sex. Like I'm the expert. I'm not the expert, but they wanted to know. So then everybody's doing it. So that's what I found so cool about this case, is there's nothing wrong with cough drops and performing oral sex, but I learned that from a call, which is fascinating because I never knew it before. So those are the type of stories. They're all different in Teachable Tidbits, but I guarantee you most of your readers are going to try the cough drop thing. It's so easy.
Well, guys, for everyone listening, I just want to just interject here. It works both ways. So you can also take that cough drop.
Absolutely.
Vice versa.
You mentioned that.
Yes, and yes, that's all I'm going to say.
Well said.
It's perfectly fine. It's all we have to know. Man, like, just imagine that, like, going to a call and then coming home and you find out something new, something pretty incredible. And yeah, of course it's gonna go round on the station. It's, I mean, men will be men, boys will be boys. Everyone has to try.
Well, Amanda said she might try it, so girls will be girls.
Hey, true.
Girls on girls, girls on boys, whatever. Each to their own.
It's perfectly fine. So
as long as everyone's in agreement, as they say. We did have this,
true.
obviously. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, as long as it's consensual and with a human partner. Let's say
that's important. We even throw in there, sign a living human partner. We got to, after you read the book, you got to throw that in there. That'd be ideal. A human partner not going to cover it for some.
But just the fact that you have to specify a living human partner.
Yeah, no, I know. It's
man, like you hear the stories, of course, but like then to actually read them from you who have has witnessed it firsthand, or has heard it from witnesses, it is shocking. But yeah, your book is 50 Shades of True Crime. The title is very, very fitting. I do like it.
Little play
why do we all grabbing
there.
It?
Yeah.
I would share with your, I mean, that's the book for your listeners. But I would share what's interesting is on this book, when I wrote it, I got a call. I can't share the name of the UK production company. You guys would certainly know it's one of your tops. A call on this book on perhaps creating a docuseries. Now, how the hell you'd ever watch this on Netflix or Hulu? Don't ask me. That's actually currently in the works.
I would watch
and
it.
It's one of your own.
That. Yeah, women love this type of thing. Yeah, murders and
the reason for
throw in a bit of sexual deviancy.
Yeah.
We're all for that. Yeah.
There's so much normal true crime out there that they wanted No, they wanted something different for their viewers. So
Mm-hmm.
that's currently in the works. I don't if it comes to
Mm-hmm.
fruition or not. We'll see. But I was fascinated by how you would take this book and then put it into a docuseries. Now I can see how you would do it, but boy, that's going to be some shocking material for viewers.
Oh
Doug,
God,
do you
yeah.
have any plans to write a second book?
Yeah, the second book was already it's already quasi written in production. This
Mm-hmm.
contact by the film company put a stop to that, meaning they own the rights to it if they go forward with the docuseries. So
Okay.
that pauses it because they want that. They don't want it out in a book and then they do their show.
Mm-hmm.
They want it the opposite. So they have first rights at it now, a certain time period to make that come to fruition. I hope it does because that'd be one of the most interesting docuseries people have ever seen.
Oh God,
But we'll
yeah.
see so right now it's
Mm-hmm.
on hold. If they pass on it ultimately, then the book will come out. If not, we'll have a little show on one of the streaming platforms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Make it into a
Fantastic.
docu-series. Okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it
think it would
is.
totally work. Seriously, all jokes aside, I'm only playing a little bit, but like all jokes aside, I think it would make a fabulous series on like Netflix or something. It would be very cool.
Well,
Yeah.
there's they sent me Goliath is a TV show with Billy Bob Thornton, the actor. I don't know if you know who he is.
Mhm.
Goliath is a series, but there's a scene in there that has amputee porn, and that's a fetish where people like to have sex with amputees. I'm not kidding. This is a real one. But Billy Bob Thornton, who's a major actor, actually is in this scene that they sent me. So as soon as they sent me that, it clicked in my mind. This isn't as far of a reach as I thought. To your point, Amanda, people are already watching little excerpts of this. Not this would be
Yeah.
the whole show on this, but if Billy Bob can do it, 50 Shades of True Crime certainly can be a docuseries.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I'll definitely keep an eye out. Like if it's it's going to be a success in the UK, then it will blow over to the European mainland as well. I mean, we already know Amanda's gonna enjoy definitely enjoy it. Have herself a glass and enjoy herself watching
Soju, get it right.
I don't even know what that is, but anyway.
I know. I don't understand how you're not accessing this stuff. Do you know what soju is, Doug?
I've heard of soju, but tell me what it is because I don't.
It's like a Korean version of sake. So the Japanese sake, the rice wine. Yeah, same thing.
Oh,
yeah.
I like sake, so I love it. I love any type of wine, including sake. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't drink anymore, so I'll take your word for it. Yeah, Doug, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for writing that book. I guess I'm gonna have to read it a few more times. Just some of the things, it's horrible. It's fascinating, and yeah, the one question that I had in every chapter, every case was just why. But yeah,
Literally.
that's humanity for you, I guess.
Yeah, no, I appreciate having it. For your listeners, if you want to watch a book trailer, you can go to dougfifer.com, watch the trailer. You can order it at Amazon UK, wherever you want. There's audio, ebook, paper, whatever your pleasure is on listening. The audiobook is phenomenal. Actually, it's the number one seller of my book is the audiobook. So that's a killer. It's doing extremely well.
Yeah, that would be a different experience,
surprised?
wouldn't it? Why didn't we get the audio version? That might have been a little bit, like you can relax, listen to it. That's a good idea. Yeah, good take. Yeah.
So yeah, for your listeners, check it out. It's like I said, it's a memorable book. You'll never forget that you read it, and that was by design.
Yeah, there are definitely certain cases in there that will stick with me for life. Whether that be cucumbers, ducks.
The cucumber was an easy one.
Yeah, DIY material.
Horses, couple of stallions in there,
tattoos. Yeah, sure. Why not? I do encourage everyone to read that book. You are hereby you are warned. There is if you're sensitive to these kinds of things, you know, it is.
Yeah.
You
It
might
was
want to.
definitely a build-up, so I think you could, yeah, definitely. I would definitely recommend that everyone give it a go, give it a read.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that
Mhm.
Amanda had to, still hasn't finished it yet, even though you said
Yes,
you were
and
going to
that is
finish
true.
it.
I've still got 50 pages, left. But,
Eh,
at the end of the day, I want to take my time and absorb everything that's in it.
Yeah,
And
I
if
get a
I
lot
need
of
a breather in between,
comments on the website, same thing on how strong the book was, but they had to finish it.
Mhm.
And then the women on the emails to the website ask the most incredible questions, and they dig deeper into like your tattoo story, the cheese whiz. I mean, they ask some really odd questions that they want answered, and I'm just like, because I thought that would be the easiest. You would offend the women the most. The guys would be like, whatever. Just opposite. Boy,
No.
they dig in
Yeah.
deep with these questions. I actually laugh out loud when I'm answering these questions and they really want to know. These are real people that have read your book, and I'm like, wow, that's incredible.
So we might have another cheese whiz story or two coming up. It's always the women. Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Well, yeah. Thank you very much for coming on. I am definitely never gonna forget this book. I will recommend it to everyone. Like,
Yes.
if I'm being scarred, and I'm taking everyone else down
If
with
I've
me.
been scarred.
Smart. I like that. I like it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I'm not going alone.
Oh hell no!
Oh,
no,
so
no.
funny.
Not with this. Not with this. I am. This is a book to be shared.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, you can. Amanda, stop it. Behave.
Okay.
It's the second time I'm hosting with you for the second time. Anyway, yeah, you can find the book on Amazon. You can go to his website. We will make sure that everything is linked in the description box down below. It is an amazing book, but be warned, there are some stories in there that are more pain than pleasure. But yeah, with a good amount of dark humor, you'll get through it. Or a good amount of soju will also help.
Exactly. No, serious.
And if you want to see more, hear more from across the pond, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell on, because YouTube does have a tendency to not send the notification out when something new is uploaded. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcast, do leave us that 5-star rating. It helps out so much. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Visit our website, www.acrossthepond.co.uk for
Sorry, guys.
everything else that we do, and for all
acrossthepodcast.co.uk.
the news and podcasts and everything coming up. So thank you all. Doug, thank you again for coming on. Thank you for writing such a incredible book. This will last with me a lifetime. I guarantee.
You guys are awesome to talking to, so thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure, and we will see you all. We will talk to you all, and next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
This is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page.
This is a Fox News alert. The Epstein files have been released.
Across the pond.
You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening.
Very serious.
Now.